Your electronic flight bag can be the best thing that happens to you as a pilot, but it can also let you down. No stupid obvious tips like making sure it doesn't overheat or making sure it doesn't run out of batteries. No. Here are my top 10 tips for how you can best set up your iPad if you're going to use it as a private pilot. Tip number 1, before we get into the setup itself, make sure you have a shockproof case. You will drop your iPad. I've dropped this a number of times on the runway, off the wing of the plane, when I'm doing my pre-flighting, and make sure you put a screen protector, why can't I say that? Put that plastic thing on the front to protect your screen from rain, because you'll probably be using this in bad weather at some point in your flying career. Tip number 2, only install what you need. You don't need to put your social media accounts on here. You don't need to put Instagram and Facebook on here. You're probably traveling with a phone anyhow. Put your social media on there and check it during your flight if you have to. But keep this just for the apps that you're going to need for flying. Talking of apps, tip number 3, put all those apps that you're never going to need into one folder. And I put them on another screen out of the way of all of my aviation apps so it doesn't distract me when I'm trying to use the iPad in flight. Number 4, turn all your auto updates off. Now it's important to make sure you have the latest version of software, and I'll come to that in a second, but auto updates running in the background, you don't want that. This will ensure that when you've got an app running on your iPad which is stable, it doesn't auto update in the background and maybe there's going to be a clash with the operating system that you're using. Turning off auto updates means that your apps won't update, say, overnight, the night before you jump on board a flight. And the worst thing will be is if you jump on the plane the next day, fire up your app and it crashes out because it's not designed to work with the version of the operating system you're using. Which, on the same point of updates, do make sure that your electronic flight bag works with the version of the operating system you're currently running. And if your system tells you that there is an update you can install, check with your electronic flight bag software to make sure that it is compatible with that operating system before you go ahead and install it. And I tend to try and do software updates a good couple of days before I know I'm flying again. Tip number 5, if you are going to put mail onto your iPad, which I don't think is a bad thing, make sure you've only got one email account configured so you're not getting notifications during flight unnecessarily. Don't put your work account on there. Don't put like shared accounts on there. Just put the account that you use for your flight notifications and the one that you know you can communicate with people with whilst you're on the move if you have to. Tip number 6, make sure you put the apps that you're going to use most in flight in your quick access toolbar at the bottom. It's just a simple case of holding down on the app, dragging it down to the toolbar and letting go. And then from that point, when you're using your iPad, it's really easy to single tap on your app at the bottom and launch it when you need it during flight. Tip number 7, possibly a controversial one, but I recommend you turn off Face ID, you turn off fingerprint unlocking, and you turn off your passcode. So all you need to do to unlock your iPad is just to tap it twice, in my case. Depends on the version that you're using. It means you don't need to worry about your finger maybe being wet and not being able to unlock it during the flight. You don't need to worry about Face ID failing on you. You don't need to worry about tapping in a passcode every time you want to unlock your iPad. And so any additional barriers between you and getting to that information, I think you should just take out. So security is your thing. You do what you want with it. But from my point of view, I don't have any locks on this device. So if you find it, please don't send silly emails from my email account because... Number 8, I recommend you lock the orientation of your iPad to stop this happening when you're in flight, which is really annoying when it's on your lap and you're just trying to get the, to do that on the version of the operating system I'm running, you simply swipe up, click on that little padlock, which will lock the orientation. And that way, when you're using your iPad and it maybe falls down on your seat or slides sideways, or you're just looking at it at a slight angle, it doesn't change. Tip number 9 goes back to those annoying pop-ups and notifications, which can really distract you if they happen during flight. So turn off all unnecessary notifications. On the iPad, to do that, go into your settings, click on notifications down the left-hand side, and go into those apps that you might have installed but you may not actually use and turn notifications off. And tip number 10, save commonly accessed pages to your home screen. For example, there's a site I go to a lot, which is the satellite view from the Bureau of Meteorology. Instead of having to fire up Safari or Chrome, whatever it is, typing in satview.com, etc., just go to the website that you want, tap on that little box with the up arrow and tap on Add to Home Screen. And what that will do is it will put a bookmark for you on your home screen, which with a single tap, you can get to the exact page that you need to. I do that with a couple of pages. The synoptic charts is one of them on the BOM website, and that satellite view is another one too. It just means if I need to access them quickly, I don't have to go searching online for them. I can just single tap, and if I've got a data connection up there in the cockpit, it just comes up without me having to think any more about it. Those are my top 10 tips. Let me know in the comments below what yours are. I'm sure I've missed some great ones as well. Share with the community. What are some other good ways that you can set up your iPad so it's the best and safest way to use it as a private pilot? And just before you go, depending on when you're watching this, but there's still a giveaway going on the channel at the moment. You can win a signed copy of Michael's book, Voyage of the Southern Sun, his epic flight around the world. It's a fascinating story. I really mean that. You can also win a copy of the soundtrack on vinyl, link down below. If you're not a subscriber to the channel and you like that content, do click on that subscribe button. Give us a like if you enjoyed that as well. And if you're going to be at the Avalon Air Show this week, I hope to see you there.